When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
Interesting letter to the editor published in the Montreal Gazette yesterday, and it was signed by a long list of people, Montreal Island mayors, former MPs, councillors. List really goes on and on and on. And in that open letter in the Montreal Gazette, they ask the people, the residents of the riding of Mount Royal, they ask them to continue supporting Anthony Housefather, to vote for Anthony Housefather. Now, of course, there is no federal election that is supposed to happen anytime soon. We shall see. It's politics. It's a minority government. The timing's very interesting here. Let's go to Beny Masella. He's mayor of the town of Montreal West. Mayor Masella, welcome back to the program.
Good morning, Elias. Thanks for having me on.
And I'm looking at the letter, and you are right there at the top.
I don't know how that happened.
So I don't know if it was random or not, but you're right there at the top. Can I ask you, why now? I mean, the timing does seem pretty darn interesting. Why was this the time to publish this letter?
I have to be honest with you. I don't know why it was published now. I have to be completely honest with you. But they reached out to us, and they say, are you ready to sign a letter that supports Anthony Housefather?
Who's they?
And,
they reached out. Who's they?
Anthony's team. Anthony's team. So, and I was completely comfortable signing this letter. Anthony's always been somebody that has represented his constituents and the Anglophone minority in Quebec really, really well. So I had no issue at all throwing my support behind Anthony Housefather because I think he's done a good job. He's done a good job in fairly trying circumstances, I would think. But he's still continuing to do a good job, and I think he's the right people for that riding.
Okay,
he's the right person for that riding.
And you were really enlightening me here because Anthony Housefather was on with Aaron Rand yesterday on Montreal Now, and when Aaron was talking to him, it sort of sounded like he was making it sound like they were behind the letter. And now you're all but confirming it. This letter, this really comes out of the Anthony Housefather team. Because they're trying to make some noise here, right? To drum up support for Housefather. I guess they're concerned about the next federal election.
I think that's a fair concern. Nobody wants to take an election for granted. And though Anthony's been their MP for, I think, 2 terms already, and he's done a good job, and he was mayor of Côte-Saint-Luc, and he was involved with the Association of Suburban Municipalities, you never take anything for granted. So I think I understand completely their idea. Let's get these people who, for whatever reason, feel that Anthony carries enough weight that they feel that their word supporting Anthony Housefather may actually have a positive effect for his reelection.
What do you say to someone, because obviously we've seen the fortunes of the Liberal Party have turned. They are not polling very well across the country. A little bit of a different story in Quebec, but of course in the riding of Mount Royal, there's another thing, right? And that has been the Israel-Hamas war that's going on for a year. And clearly Anthony Housefather has been on the outside looking in with much of his party. It sort of reflects what's happened with English language stuff, right? He's been the guy in the Liberal Party. Doesn't seem like the rest of the Liberal Party has been standing up for Anglophones in Quebec. What do you say to someone that's like, listen, our problem's not with Anthony. Our problem's with the Liberal Party. And as long as Liberal is there next to his name, we can't vote for him. What do you say to someone that says that's the problem?
What I would say to something like that is that we're not electing. Yes, we are, in effect, we're electing a party, but we're voting for this particular individual. And this particular individual has stood up. He stood up sometimes going against his party's position to make sure that he puts forward that position, whether it's in support of Israel, whether it's in support of minority Anglophone rights, whether it's in support of some bills that the provincial government that put out that lacked a little bit of clarity, or even his own party's Bill 13 that spoke of the Official Languages Act. He has spoken out and he has spoken loudly, and they're electing that individual. Yes, they're voting for a party, but they're voting for Anthony Housefather because he has spoken loudly and strongly to defend these positions.
Could he not do that as an independent? Wouldn't that be a great option if he does do that same thing, that the advocacy, but do it as an independent? Would that, what do you say to that as a possibility?
I would say then that your voice is even more diminished. At that point, at least if you're speaking inside the Liberal caucus, you have a chance of influencing the Liberal Party to take positions that are more in line with what we're looking for. So then at that point, being inside the party rather than being an independent, I think is beneficial. And I think that's the right move, to stay inside a party rather than being independent and try and continue to influence the decisions, in this case, of the ruling party.
Knowing the demographics of the riding of Mount Royal, and demographics of ridings matter, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Mélanie Joly, has made that very clear, that demographics can influence her policy decisions. Knowing the demographics of Mount Royal, isn't it true, if it's Anthony Housefather, let's say he loses and someone else wins, whether it's from the Conservatives or any other party, doesn't the demographics of the riding mean that whoever's there next will fill that same role as Anthony Housefather?
It all depends whether or not they're going to have the fortitude to stand up against not a party line that isn't necessarily what his constituents are looking for. I think Anthony's done an exemplary job always defending what his constituents are looking for. That's not to say that somebody else will have that same fortitude to stand up and speak out against whatever party they're representing to make sure that the will of the constituents of Mount Royal are properly transmitted to the party.
Mayor Masella, it's always a pleasure catching up with you. Hope to see you on the streets of Montreal West one day soon, and thanks for coming on this morning.
Always a pleasure, Elias. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. That's Beny Masella, the mayor of the town of Montreal West.